Most people think the first $100,000 makes you rich. They're wrong. In fact, it's the exact point where most people quit because something strange happens before you reach it. You're doing everything right, saving, investing, being disciplined, but your life barely changes. And the worst part? It feels like it's not working. But here's what nobody tells you. The first $100,000 is not about money. It's about surviving the phase where money refuses to show results. Say you're earning $50,000 a year. You're disciplined. You save 20%. That's $10,000 a year, which is genuinely hard for most people, but let's assume you pull it off. At that rate, ignoring returns for a second, just raw saving, you're looking at 10 years to hit $100,000. 10 years of discipline, sacrifice, and saying no to things, just to reach a number that still feels far from wealthy. Now here's where it gets psychologically brutal. In year one, you save $10,000. Your portfolio grows, let's say 8% average annual return. You earn $400 in returns. $400. You sacrificed an entire year of spending decisions, skipped vacations, drove the old car, said no to the nicer apartment, and the market gave you $400. That's not nothing, but it feels like nothing. And this is the first trap. When your balance is small, compound interest is technically working, but it's working so quietly you can barely see it. The psychological feedback loop is broken. You're doing everything right, and it doesn't feel like anything is happening. Most people quit here. Not because they're bad with money, because the signal is too weak. And there's a second trap layered underneath that one. As you earn more, your life quietly gets more expensive. New job, slightly nicer place, promotion, newer car, raise, better restaurants. Nobody plans this, it just happens. Lifestyle creep is not a character flaw, it's a psychological default. Hedonic adaptation means your brain recalibrates your normal upward constantly. So even as income grows, the gap between income and savings stays painfully thin. You're running on a treadmill that speeds up as you go faster. And there's one more trap, the most insidious one. At $5,000 saved, an 8% return gives you $400. At $50,000 saved, $4,000 returns you get. Still not life-changing. Still just a number on a screen. The math is building, but it hasn't tipped yet. That tip is coming. But first you have to survive long enough to reach it. So what actually changes at $100,000? 3 things, and they compound on each other. At $100,000, an 8% annual return gives you $8,000. $8,000 in a year, without you doing anything. That's not life-changing on its own. But here's what it means practically. Your money is now earning the equivalent of several months of your savings contributions, automatically. You're no longer the only engine. The portfolio has become a second engine running beside you. And every year, that second engine gets bigger. At $150,000, $12,000 in returns. At $300,000, $24,000 returns. The trajectory bends, visibly. For the first time, you can see it bending. Something strange happens when you hit a number that feels real. The abstract becomes concrete. Maybe this will work becomes, this is working. And that shift is not small, because behavior follows belief. People who believe their saving matters save more consistently. People who see the progress protect it more fiercely. The first $100,000 doesn't just change your balance sheet, it changes your relationship with money. You stop feeling like someone trying to build wealth and start feeling like someone who has. That identity shift has compounding effects of its own. Below $100,000, your financial life is mostly reactive. An emergency wipes you out. A bad month sets you back months. Above $100,000, something different starts to happen. You have a cushion that absorbs shocks instead of breaking under them. You have capital that can be deployed into investments, into opportunities, into decisions that would have been impossible before. Wealth isn't just about the number. It's about the options the number creates. And $100,000 is, for most people, the first threshold where real options appear. Here's the part that genuinely surprises people when they experience it. The second $100,000 takes less time than the first. Not because you suddenly earn more, not because you get lucky, because the math has changed. Person saves $10,000 a year. Portfolio at $100,000 earning 8%. That $8,000 in annual returns means the portfolio is effectively saving $18,000 a year now. $10,000 from the person, $8,000 from the money itself. The second $100,000 comes faster. The third faster still. The fourth, you're barely even the main contributor anymore. This is what Munger meant. Not that it gets emotionally easier, but that the math literally accelerates. The machine that was barely running in year one is now running at full speed, and it doesn't stop for weekends. And this is why the first $100,000 is the hardest. Not because of bad luck, not because the world is unfair, not because you haven't worked hard enough, because you're building an engine from scratch, with no momentum, no feedback, and no visible proof it's working. Until it does. So if you're in the grind right now, $8,000 saved, or $20,000, or $70,000, and it feels like nothing is happening. The math is working. You just can't feel it yet. The feedback loop hasn't turned on. The second engine hasn't started. The options haven't appeared. But they will. At a specific, calculable, predictable point. The first $100,000 is the hardest because you're doing it almost entirely alone. After that, your money helps. If this helped, subscribe. More videos like this every week. And if you're somewhere in the middle of that first $100,000 right now, keep going. The math is on your side. It just hasn't shown up yet.